on IG. I do have a presentation that I'm going to be walking through on YouTube. So if you actually want to see the presentation on YouTube, or you want to see the presentation, go ahead and head over to my YouTube page. All right. Hey guys, I think we're live on YouTube now. Hey guys, hey YouTube, hey Instagram. So guys, we are going to talk about the business steps to really starting your tax and bookkeeping business, right? So I commonly get questions such as, Krista, do I have to be incorporated in order to start my tax and bookkeeping business? And if so, how should I incorporate myself? They typically ask, do they need errors and omissions insurance? So there's a lot of nuances when you are starting your tax and bookkeeping business. And I kind of just want to walk you guys through some of the business setup for that. Okay. So we're going to be talking about the business strategies, right? Fun little fact. I had a very bad speech impediment for years between the ages of, I would say 5 and like 10 years old. So for 5 years, I had the worst stutter. Okay. So it's a miracle that I can even speak as articulately sometimes as I can now, because I used to stutter so bad, guys, that I would stomp on the ground. My head would be shaking back and forth. I would be like, if you were next to me, I would hit you because I was trying to get the words to come out of my mouth. And I had to go to speech therapy for 5 years when I was a little girl. And one of the things that my speech therapist used to say, she used to say, Krista, your brain is thinking faster than what your mouth can communicate, right? So she had to train me on how to slow down the thoughts in my brain so that my mouth can catch up. So that's just a little fun fact for you guys, a little trivia on me that you may or may have not known. So, hey guys, hey Rue. All right, so we're going to talk about the business steps. So let me go ahead. I have a presentation that I actually want to share with you guys to actually walk through this process. Okay, so let me share my screen. And again, guys, if you're on IG and you want to see my presentation, go ahead and hop on over to YouTube so you can see my presentation. Okay, guys, so let's start this. So we're going to talk about the business startup for new tax and bookkeeping professionals, right? So let's put that here. All right, so first things first, we're going to talk about what we're going to cover. So today we're going to talk about business entity formation, business banking, obtaining your P10, obtaining your EFIN, and then obtaining errors and omission insurance, okay? So business entity formation, this is a common question. A lot of people want to know how should they be incorporated, what exactly they should do. And so first things first, I really, implore all of my clients, if tax and bookkeeping is going to be your legitimate business, you definitely want to incorporate, right? If this is not just some side hustle that you're going to be doing, as you have time, if you really want to make this your business, I would tell you to get all of your ducks in a row, right? Go ahead and get incorporated. So you need to get registered with your state. Most of your state, they allow you to register your business. And this can be done with your state business registration site. So for instance, if I go to my state's website, I can go to Michigan, michigan.gov, or I can say Michigan new business registration. Right, it already pre-populated because this is a commonly searched thing. Do the same thing for your state, but you actually want to register your business as you actually want to incorporate on their website. So the state of Michigan, for my state, they have it to where we can actually incorporate online, right? We can just register. We can, put the business name that we want. We can pay a nominal fee. I believe for the state of Michigan, it's about $50 to register. And then they, will go ahead and submit your registration to their database. You will be incorporated. They will forward over your incorporation paperwork, typically within about 3 to 5 business days. So whatever your state, wherever you live, I would implore you to go to your state's website and go ahead and get your business incorporated online with your state. Now, yes, you can use such, programs such as LegalZoom or incorporations.com, right? Obviously, you're going to pay a little bit more because those platforms, they charge their own fees in order to, make money to help you register. But a lot of these states, you can go straight to their website. It's super easy. It's only going to take you about 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes to actually incorporate your business with your local state. Okay. So that's first things first. The second thing is, a lot of people ask me, okay, Krista, sole proprietorship or LLC. And honestly, this is going to be a very great learning lesson for you guys because you are now a tax and accounting professional, you need to start understanding, what are the best strategies your clients should be incorporated as, right? What are the best, or what is the best entity your client should choose based upon very key factors, right? So everyone's situation is not the same. It's not cookie cutter, right? So when you incorporate with your state as an LLC, which is a limited liability company, you are being incorporated, if you're just a sole proprietor, as a disregarded entity. And what that means is all of the income and expenses that you incur in your business is just going to be filed on Schedule C, right? And for a lot of people, this makes sense for a lot of startup businesses to be incorporated as a LLC, which is a limited liability company that severs the liability between you and your personal assets, but you're only going to be taxed as a sole proprietor, a disregarded entity, and you're going to file on Schedule C form when you go to file your 1040. The reason why this makes sense for a lot of people is because, a lot of people aren't that profitable the first couple of years that they're in business. A lot of people can't afford to pay themselves a very consistent salary. So these are the nuances of an SCorp and a C corporation. At SCorp, you have to put yourself on a reasonable payroll. It doesn't make sense for most of you guys to incorporate as an SCorp out of the gate, especially if this is a new business and you don't have any traction yet. You don't have any clients. You're not making any revenue. Now, I would definitely say look at your business goals, right? If you have ideas that you want to possibly obtain venture capital, or if you want to have an exit down the line, certain key nuances you might want to incorporate as a C Corp, as an S Corp, right? But for the majority of people, if you're just starting this business because this is a business that you want to be in and you want to grow it, the majority of people, it'd be wise to incorporate as a limited liability company so you can sever that liability between you and your personal assets, and then file all of your income on Schedule C, all of your income and your expenses on Schedule C. Okay. When you are making a profit, right? When you are making profits over about $35,000, this is when you want to start thinking about, should you change your election to an S Corp, right? And you definitely can change your election with Internal Revenue Service. You can change how they tax you by filling out, I believe it's Form 2253. So let's go to the internet and let's see what form that is. I believe it's 2243. S Corp. So let's see. Election by small business. Right. So this is the form to be incorporated. So it says a corporation or other entity eligible to be treated as a corporation files this form to make an election under section 1362A to be an S Corp. Okay. And you have 3 years to figure out if you want to be taxed as an S Corp. So typically that's enough time. And the IRS knows that typically if you are profitable in the first 3 years, to the point to where it makes sense for you to be incorporated as an S Corp, you can go ahead and file this form 2553. Okay. Make sure you read the instructions, make sure you go through and you abide by all of the S Corporation rules in order to be proper, in order to receive proper election status with Internal Revenue Service. Okay. They do have a relief for late S Corporation election filed by a corporation. So definitely if it's over, it says Form 2553 will be filed within 3 years and 75 days of the date entered on line E, right? So you have 3 years and 75 days to actually file for S Corporation status, but they do have relief for late S Corporation election. Don't worry about that. Just go ahead and file within the timeline. Okay. So go ahead and incorporate yourself as a limited liability company. You're going to file on Schedule C. You're going to wait 1 to 2 years to see if you're profitable. And when you're profitable within that 3-year time frame, go ahead and elect to be taxed as an S corporation by filing Form 2553. Okay. So that solves that problem for the majority of you. So you can just do business as your name and social security number and file on Schedule C, or you can get incorporated, which is what I personally recommend, and still file on Schedule C, but you'll be filing with your incorporated business name and EIN. So a lot of people ask me, well, Krista, what should I incorporate as, right? What name should I choose? And so here's my perspective on that. I tell clients to say, listen, your name is not really the game changer for you. It's really the service, right? You want to definitely incorporate a business name that you're going to be proud of. So here's what happened to me. I first incorporated as Dynamite Tax and Financial Service. I had an intention. I was like, okay, I want to be like H&R Block. The intention several years ago was to franchise, was to put people up underneath the Dynamite Tax and Financial Service brand. And I was going to be this big conglomerate, right? And we still have one franchise partner that still is in operation today with that name. Shout out to Toy in Detroit. And so here's what happened to me though. I had intentions on, growing Dynamite Tax and Financial Service, but the types of clients that I was receiving wasn't in alignment with that business name. So that name and that business model is more so geared around getting more EIC clients. You're reaching that mass middle market of people. The types of clients that I was attracting, because I was an enrolled agent and I was marketing myself in certain networking circles, was, companies that were making a few $1,000,000. And I found myself being actually embarrassed to tell people the name of my business. And they will like make little comments like Dynamite Tax and Financial Service, because you're talking to people that make a few $1,000,000. They, their perception is a little bit different. And they were I felt at the time they were looking down on my business name, right? Like, honestly, that's how I felt. And so I felt insecure, like telling people who I was attracting as a client, now my business name. It's a great business name. It's just, it wasn't in alignment with the type of clients that I was attracting at the moment. So here's what I did. I reincorporated my business name to just Krista Tyus and Associates. Okay. And so I pulled that playbook from accounting firms. I looked at accounting firms in my area, accounting firms that I respected. And I noticed that the majority of those bookkeeping and tax and accounting firms, they were, their names were very similar to like law firm names, right? They had Johnson and Associates, right? Or Taylor CPA, okay? And I really admired the simplicity of their names. 1, it was simple. 2, it was professional. And 3, it was personal, right? And here's what I mean. If when you look at big tier, not big tier, but like mid-tier tax and accounting firms, they're typically using their names. They're using their names with their license, right? So it'd be, Johnson and Johnson CPA firm, okay? And this is what you want. You want people to actually see you as this personalized brand. The reason why is because now there are so many corporations, there's so many different businesses that it's becoming, impersonal, right? To do business. Like at this point, even though we make some really good revenue in my business, I will not feel happy going to a top or a big 3 accounting firm. I wouldn't feel valued, right? I would feel just like a number. I would feel like, the small, fish in this big sea, right? Of other big fish. I'll be this little small fish. So for me, a core value of mine where I'm at within my business is between $1 and $5 million, is I want a mid-tier tax and accounting firm to help me navigate my finances. And I want to know that I have access to the partner, right? Access to the actual CPA or access to the EA or the tax attorney. So this is kind of what you want. You want to cater to this very perfect market of clients, of business clients that make between, let's just say $250,000 and $5 million. And you want to be the brand. So I would advise you guys to incorporate your business as your name, right? So if I was a CPA, I would have incorporated as Krista Tyus CPA, or maybe Tyus and Associates CPA. right? This is my preferred method after going through the transition of having both types of names. Now, here's what I want to say. Don't get caught up on the name part, because the name does not really, it's not really going to make or break you. Like, I was still getting clients that were making millions of dollars, even with my Dynamite Tax name, right? So obviously the name didn't make or break me. Right. People were actually becoming my client because of me and because of who I am and what I bring to the table. But I would say you do want to look at the longevity of your business, right? What do you want your business's core values to be? What is your mission statement for your tax and accounting firm? You want to actually start looking at the long-term values of your name, as well as the mission and the vision for your business as well. Okay. So that's just my little spiel on your business name. Now, after you get incorporated, you will go ahead and get your EIN. You're going to get your EIN for free by going to irs.gov. And honestly, I could probably put in IRS EIN and it's probably going to pop right up. So boom, right here. Actually, we don't want to go to any ads. You're going to go to apply for an employer identification number online. Now, the nuance is, on the irs.gov website is you only have a very specific time. They have hours of operations to obtain an EIN number. So you only can go online to obtain this between Monday and Friday, between the hours of 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I remember going on here for a client and I was working really late at night and it was probably like 11:30. And I went online to obtain their EIN number and they were closed for the entire weekend. And I wanted to get this back to my client like that Saturday, right? So be sure, especially when you're working with your clients and you're promising, paperwork back, their incorporation, their EIN number back to them, make sure that you're understanding that they're going to be closed on the weekends and they are closed after 10 p.m. And I honestly think this is a little odd because it's software. I really don't understand. Maybe for maintenance purposes, they have to close because of the sheer amount of data of people that are applying for EIN. That's my only reasoning behind why they do this. Okay. So this literally takes no more than about 3 to 5 minutes to complete. You're going to get your EIN number online. Now, here's what you're going to do next. You're actually going to open up your business bank account. Okay. So now that you actually have your business incorporated with your state, you have your EIN number, I need you to actually go to one of your local banks or a bank that you really love in your area. And I want you to actually open up your business bank account. This bank account is where you're going to be receiving all of your income and paying out all of your expenses from. You want to make sure that you're not commingling your funds, right? Like, you're supposed to be teaching your clients not to commingle. So you have to lead by example, right? You do not want to commingle your personal with your business. So you want to go ahead and start your business bank account. Typically, most banks, they require an initial deposit of $100 to open up your account. And I would implore you to start off with at least one checking account and one savings. Okay, start off with at least one checking account and one savings account. And so here's what I want you to also do. I have a book recommendation for you guys called The Profit First. The Profit First is just going to help you set up a really sound system to paying yourself as well as saving money to actually put in your savings as well as pay for taxes. So you kind of want to segment out the types of accounts that you're eventually going to grow into. And typically we recommend the Profit First method. So the Profit First method is typically where you take, 5 accounts and you segment it out based upon, how much you want to put into each account. So for instance, you will have, your profit account, you will have your tax account, your owner's expense account, you will have your owner's pay account, right? These will be 5 separate accounts. So as you're receiving revenue into your master account, you're just going to be transferring 50% to pay yourself. Then you're going to transfer, 10% for taxes. Then you're going to transfer 20% for operating expenses. So the Profit First method is a great way to get started when you're growing a business and you really want to learn how to manage your money. A big common problem that my clients have is that they don't really know how to manage their money. And this is business across the board, no matter what type of business they're in. A common problem is, how do I manage the money that I'm making? How do I budget the money that I'm making? And I definitely would implore all of you guys to make sure, one, you have dedicated business and savings accounts. And then two, read the book, The Profit First, right? So type in the chat, have you guys read The Profit First by Mike Michalowicz? Just type a 1 in the chat if you've actually read this book already. So let me show you guys what the book looks like. So here's the book right here, The Profit First. Really good book. Okay. So let's move on to the next part. So obtaining your PTIN. Your PTIN is your prepared tax identification number, okay? And now the PTIN, the IRS is opening up renewals for PTINs, and they are $39.95, the renewal fee. If you need a PTIN, again, it's $39.95 for a new PTIN. And what you want to go to is irs.gov/tax professionals/PTIN requirements for tax return preparers. And here's the link right here. But honestly, you can simply go to IRS PTIN, type that in your Google search, and it's really the first search option that comes up, okay? So it says right here that you can renew your PTIN in 3 easy steps. You can pay the $39.95 renewal fee. And then if you need to apply, you can go ahead and apply online. It takes about 15 minutes. And again, it's $35.95 to actually apply and renew your PTIN for the 2021 year to file 2020 tax returns, okay? So here's what you wanna know with regards to your PTIN. Anyone who prepares or assists in preparing federal tax returns for compensation, so you're getting paid, if you are getting paid to file someone's taxes, you must have a valid 2021 PTIN before preparing returns, right? And all enrolled agents must also have a valid PTIN. So most first-time PTIN applicants can obtain a PTIN online in about 15 minutes. And again, the fee is $35.95, right? It's not $39.95, it's $35.95, okay? Okay, so we're rounding out this list right now. So this is just your PTIN checklist. They need to verify you, right? So you need to have these things verified. You need to have, your last filed tax return so you can reference it because they're going to be asking you your personal information as well as your business information. And if you have any, felonies or things like that, they're going to ask for an explanation of each. All right. Now, the second thing that you want is your EFIN. Your EFIN is your electronic filing identification number. Okay, this is a number that you need to actually submit over tax returns electronically, right? So you're going to create your IRS e-services account. You're going to submit your application and you're going to pass a suitability check. So the EFIN is the one that you need to get fingerprinted, right? This is the one that you're going to take to, I think someone was telling me that the Postal Service would fingerprint. You can go to your local police department, your state department to get fingerprinted, and you're going to submit this application along with your fingerprints, and then the IRS is going to do the rest. So they're going to actually look at your background to see if you have any felonies, to see if you have all your tax returns filed, to make sure that you're not outstanding or delinquent with them. And then typically it takes about 45 days and they will issue you your EFIN, okay? Now you do need to create an IRS e-services account. So right here, honestly guys, if you just go to Google and again, you type in IRS EFIN, it'll take you to the page to become an authorized e-file provider. And you wanna start your e-services account and you actually wanna go through this entire process. This is the number that you need to actually submit over tax returns electronically, okay? So it says step 2, submit your application to become an authorized IRS e-file provider. So once essential people are approved for e-services, your firm can begin the application to become an authorized e-file provider. The application process is not simple, but as a tax professional, you understand these steps are necessary to protect the integrity and the security of the electronic filing system, okay? It says, because the application is so comprehensive, it is designed so that you can save your data from a session, close out, and return to it when convenient. It says another caution about time, it can take up to 45 days for the IRS to approve an e-file application. So please plan accordingly. So right now, if you have not gone for your EFIN, you're pushing it. Okay. If you have not applied for your EFIN right now, you are pushing it. Okay. Because it's going to take them 45 days. So that means even if you did it today, that it's a huge potential that you won't get it until mid-January, right? Well, within following season. Okay. For most people. So you're going to pass your suitability check. Okay. You're going to, and then the last thing that I have on here is obtain errors and omission insurance. So your professional liability insurance covers financial losses and the costs and damages resulting from lawsuits up to the limit of your policy. It is a variation of errors and omissions insurance. This is also commonly referred to as E&O, and is designed specifically for tax preparers and tax preparation firms. Now, there are some E&O insurance providers that start as low as $19 a month. Okay. So here are some common mistakes that you can actually help protect yourself from when you are getting E&O insurance. So say, for instance, you transpose a number, right, that resulted in financial losses, and it resulted in your clients incurring penalties and interest. And let's just say you couldn't rectify the situation. Now you have to pay, let's just say it's $1,000 for this error. Well, your E&O insurance would take care of that. It'd probably be a small deductible, and they'll actually pay the penalties and interest for you. So this is kind of like car insurance. It's kind of like, your rental insurance or your home mortgage insurance, your home insurance. It's really similar to that. It's really just protecting you in case you mess up at the end of the day. Right. Another mistake is missed client submissions, right? So let's just say you missed submitting your client's tax return and incurred penalties and interest, or you missed submitting their payroll and incurred penalties and interest. Again, try to rectify it with the Internal Revenue Service yourself. Most times when you make a mistake, if you're lucky, you can kind of correct yourself with the IRS. You can let them know what the mistake was, and they'll take off those penalties and interest. Sometimes that might not be possible. So in those cases where it's not possible, you have your E&O insurance to protect you. The third one is neglect or ignorance that results in penalties and interest to the client. So let's just say you just didn't know better, right? You just didn't know, and it resulted in penalties and interest. And it's something that, again, you cannot rectify. Your E&O insurance will protect you. So typically people ask me, well, Krista, what is the best error and omissions insurance? I tell them to take this, type in the Google search, errors and omissions insurance, tax preparer, accountant, bookkeeper, and go with, and actually just shop around, right? So I'm going to type this into my chat. I'm just going to Google search errors and omissions insurance. And then I've heard of Hiscox. You also have here Byberg. You also have the Hartford, right? So go ahead and get a few quotes, right? Hiscox is kind of like the biggest one that I've personally heard of, but make sure you get a few quotes, right? This is insurance, so you can definitely shop around. You can get a quote, right? So right here, we'll just go to Alabama, and it's asking me for my profession, right? You can put in accounting. I wonder if taxes is one. Yeah, so you can put in tax preparation as your profession or accounting, and then it's going to take you process to get a quote. So right now you can do this online. It's probably going to take you about 15-20 minutes to go ahead and get a quote. Most E&O insurances, like I said, start off at about $19 per week, or $19 per month. And again, there are different nuances to this. So yours might be $50 per month, right? So don't freak out if they quote you $50 per month. It really just depends on your business, how much revenue you make, where you're located, and so forth. Okay. All right, guys. So what other questions do you have about starting your tax and bookkeeping business? What questions do you have around, getting incorporated, business name, EIN, business bank account, that I can actually answer for you guys while we're live? The last thing is we are still running our Cyber Monday and Black Friday offers. So if you are not on my email list, you missed the email. So you need to get on my email list of my Black Friday and Cyber Monday sale. So right now you can get 50% off my program to work with me for an entire year for me to help you start or grow your very own tax and bookkeeping business. So the program that I have is called Tax and Accounting Clients on Demand, and it's the 3.0 version. And it's actually going to teach you how to get clients using Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. And when you get people on the phone, it's going to give you the training and the scripts that you need to actually close them to become a client. So you can go to my website, check out what's in the program. You can also hit on I'm ready to enroll, and you get 50% off today. for Cyber Monday, right? So if you do the 1997 option, what you can do, you can type in coupon code Thanksgiving, okay, and apply that 50% off, and that's actually going to end tonight. If you want to hop on a payment plan, the payment plan is the same code. You're going to type in Thanksgiving, and you're going to hop on the payment plan. So if you've been waiting to work with me, if you've been waiting for a coupon or discount, today is the day. We actually, this coupon is going to be expired tonight at midnight. So if you have been waiting to work with me, if you've been wanting to work with me, now is the time to do so, to start or grow your tax and accounting business. All right, guys, let me check to see if there's any questions in the chat. And if there's no questions, then I'll see you guys in a few days. So let's see. Oh, hey, Frank. Yeah, Frank, if you guys want to get this PowerPoint, go ahead and email me at hello@christatayas.com, and I'll have Rachel, my online business manager, email it over to you if you guys want the PowerPoint. So if you watched on IG, or if you watched on YouTube and you want this PowerPoint presentation, me walking you through, then I'm gonna go ahead and email that to you today. Just go ahead and send me an inbox, or go ahead and email me at hello@christatayas.com. Hey, Rose. Hey, Princess. Hey, Nomi. Siobhan. Hey, Siobhan. Narcissa. Narcissa says, I have a pizza and I applied to this year, but I haven't started yet. What I need to renew for next year? Yes. So you need to renew every year, Narcissa. Every year in December typically is when they open up the renewal period. So you would need to renew for 2021 is what you're going to be renewing for. Oh, thank you, Joseph. Shauna says, I have an LLC, and isn't it better to set yourself up as an SCorp, or what is the best? Yeah, Shauna. So yeah, we definitely went over that in the beginning. Honestly, if you're not going to be, you really don't know how profitable you are going to be for the first few years. And so typically for an SCorp, you have to put yourself on a reasonable payroll, right? So it's really hard to put yourself on a reasonable payroll when you're just starting your business and you don't have any revenue. So normally an SCorp wouldn't be the best option. So what you would do is you will incorporate as an LLC, you will file on Schedule C, and then from there, 1 to 2 years after that, if you see that your business is profitable, you see that you can afford to put yourself on payroll, then you can elect to be taxed as an SCorp, upwards to 3 years and 75 days after, right? So the IRS does give you 3 years and 75 days to elect to be taxed as an SCorp. So it's no rush to do it in the beginning, right? Because most startups, especially tax and accounting professionals, we don't have huge profits, the first 1 to 2 years. We're just now building our business. And honestly, the money that you're making, you're living off of, right? So you don't have enough money to put yourself on a reasonable payroll. Like, you're living off of it, you're reinvesting it into your business, right? You're buying software, you're probably investing into marketing, investing in administrative assistants or someone to help you with tax and bookkeeping. So no worries, just start off as a Schedule C until you're profitable. And then once you see that you are profitable, or that you're going to be profitable, right? If you're doing some proactive tax planning, then go ahead and reincorporate and elect to be taxed as an SCorp. Yeah. No, so we don't offer any bookkeeping training. Tax and Accounting Clients on Demand is a marketing program. So if you want to learn how to make $5, $10, $15, $20,000 per month, that is the program for you. And then we recommend that, you either take QuickBooks free bookkeeping training. You can take bookkeeping trainings on certifiable.com, or you can find other bookkeeping books, right? To actually learn bookkeeping. I definitely would go the free option first, right? So go to QuickBooks, become a QuickBooks Pro Advisor, take their free bookkeeping training and their free QuickBooks Pro Advisor training, and geek out on that, right? Learn, and then do your own bookkeeping, right? Use yourself as your first client so you can go ahead and get experience, and then start doing your marketing, start getting clients. Hey, Ty. So I was just actually talking to my clients earlier today about needing a website, right? So typically we don't like to just have a static website because there's no way to collect leads from, right? When you guys just have static websites, people go to your website, they see tax services, bookkeeping services, they poke around and then they leave. You want a way to actually generate leads. And this is what I teach you in my program. This is part of the strategies that we teach is how can we consistently, no matter if it's our website, our Facebook, our Instagram, our LinkedIn, no matter what platform we are utilizing, we are going to consistently be getting leads into our business. I just had a coaching call, impromptu coaching call with one of my scale mastermind clients. And she said, Krista, I only made $700 during Black Friday. And I was like totally excited because I was like, that's amazing. This is your first Black Friday. You created something from nothing, which is amazing. And then I asked her, well, how many leads do you have on your list? So she had about 130 leads. We know that 10% of our leads typically close. So I told her, I said, okay, based upon the math and based upon her offer, she should make around $1,100. I said, listen, you're only a few $100s away from where you're supposed to be at. I'm like, you're actually doing really great. So this is what I mean. Like you constantly want to know, that you're getting leads into your business, but you also want to know your numbers, right? I was telling her today, I was like, one of the things that one of my coaches say, she always says, it's not personal, it's math, right? Something to that effect. It's not your emotions, it's not personal, it's not how you feel today. It's really just the math. And when I showed her what the math was, this is how many people you actually have on your list, this is how much you should be selling. And I saw, and I kind of showed her that she was actually in alignment with those numbers. She actually got excited. She was just like, oh wow, I didn't realize that what she's doing is actually great, right? Where she's actually at industry averages right now with her leads. So you guys want to constantly be getting leads into your business. Leads turn into sales, right? I said this on another coaching call. I said leads turn into sales. So how can we constantly be getting leads, which means how can we constantly be putting out value so that we can constantly and consistently be closing clients, right? Yeah. So Nomi says, does your course teach how to run a business and get clients or actual tax preparation? So I teach you everything from, oh, actually, let me just show you guys, right? How about I just quickly show you what the course looks like on the inside? Would that be helpful? Because now you can just see if it's right for you and then, or if it's not. So let me actually go to the course and I'm actually going to pull it up so you can see what it looks like. And if you guys are on Instagram, you can hop on over to YouTube if you actually want to see my screen. All right, so let me share my screen with you guys. Boom. So after you make your investment, this is what the course looks like. This is all the contents in the course. So it is 8 modules. So let's go through the modules really quick. First, we talk about your journey, right? You have your coaching agreement. You have your new member call that you have with me every Monday, not every Monday, but after you join, you have a new member call with me on Monday. You have your welcome message from me. You're going to join our weekly coaching calls and our private Facebook community. And then I give you the math to actually reverse engineering, making $250,000. And then you have your workbook, right? This is the workbook that you're going to use to keep track of all of the marketing activities that you're going to be doing throughout the course. Now in module 1, we talk about how to niche down, right? You need to understand your niche. You need to understand how to niche down. And then I show you how to learn about your niche and feel confident, right? What are all the tax nuances? How do you geek out on your niche? We go through your social media branding. We set up your professional email and your website. We choose your services and we show you how to price your services, right? We give you an Excel spreadsheet based upon more advanced pricing strategies. Like how do you price someone that wants to come in and, say, hey, I want you to change my disregarded entity and I want to be taxed as an SCorp. Like what should you charge to fill out form 2553 for a client, right? So we give you more of those advanced tax strategies that most people don't tell you how to price. And it's definitely not online how to price for this stuff. And we show you how to price your services for maximum profits, right? So not only do you know how to communicate how much to price your client or charge your client, but we teach you how to communicate the value. So if you want to charge someone $2,000 per month, we tell you exactly how to position that value to charge them $2,000 per month. And this is what they don't teach you in school, guys. They do not teach you how to talk to people, how to communicate to people, how to give value, how to communicate that value. This is one of the invaluable things that you learn in this course, right? I hope you craft your marketing message. So your marketing message is what we use to reach people online. Right? How do we reach people online? What do we say? How do we build up know, like, and trust? How do we build up value? Right? This is what we go over in the very first module. So you see, we tackle a lot just in this first module that most people spend years trying to figure out. They spend years trying to figure out what to price, right? Or they price wrong, right? I know clients that before they were working with me, they were only charging $100 a month for bookkeeping, or before working with me, they were only charging like $200 for a tax return or $400 for a Schedule C, right? Really low prices. And after they work with me and they see, not only can you charge more, but you can actually get the client to see the value in paying you more. That's when their whole like world shifts. They're like, holy crap, I did not know this, right? So we go over how to run your virtual firm, like how to onboard your clients virtually. We give you the forms, right? So engagement letters, proposals, checklists, things like that. We teach you strategy sessions. So again, how do you communicate to people? How do you get on the phone with somebody and actually communicate and walk through value and actually present your offer at the end and they pay you money, right? It's so fascinating to get on the phone with someone and by the end of the conversation, you're taking their card over the phone and they're paying you $500 to get started, or $1,000 or $1,500 to get started, right? So we go over strategy sessions. We teach you how to make money fast, right? How to get your first 50 clients, how to increase your revenue. So if you're already charging low prices, we got to get that up. We got to get that up before 2021. And then how to increase your existing client fees, right? So how do you actually go to your client and say, hey, I'm charging more, without them looking at you like you're crazy? Because it happens, right? So how do you communicate to them if you've only been charging them $75 and now in 2021, you want to charge them $350? How do you actually communicate that in a way that feels good for both you and them, and they see the value, right? Generating leads, right? We just spoke about this. We have a whole module to generating leads, how to generate leads, how to get leads. And then we have a whole module on getting clients with Facebook, getting clients with LinkedIn, getting clients with Instagram, getting clients with Google, getting tax resolution clients, getting clients that make over $1 million, how to generate lateral partnerships, which is oh my God, this strategy alone will add 6 figures to your revenue if you do it right. And follow up Friday. We follow up with our clients every single Friday so that we can make more money. Okay. And then getting clients farming. Again, you have to start positioning yourself as the expert online, right? So we teach you how to be a niche celebrity, right? How to be a niche celebrity, how to create content that converts into paid clients, how to shoot your first video, how to get clients with YouTube, how to post on social media, right? That actually gets people to take action. And then how to distribute all of that information throughout your different social media channels. And then it's time management. So, time management and mindset is honestly one of the biggest, I would say, problems after people start getting clients. Then it's, how do I manage my time? Can I really do this? Like, they start going through some internal doubt, and then they start to realize that it's only so much time in a day. So the time management and mindset module is so pivotal because I'm really showing you behind the scenes on how I manage my time and how I look at my life and how I goal set and how I plan and prioritize. Right. And this piece has honestly changed my life. Like, just knowing how to time manage allows me to get more work done. Right. I'm able to actually get more work done than most people can do in a week. I can typically get done in a few days. And the same thing with mindset, right? You have to know what you're doing and why you're doing it, right? You have to know the type of person that you want to become so that you can consistently be working towards this person, right? And I show you, how do you figure that out? How do you figure out what you want in your life and actually get it, right? How do you figure out, what type of, just lifestyle you want to have and actually get it? And then the last one is hiring and outsourcing. Again, this is a bittersweet moment that happens to most of my clients, where they're like, okay, Krista, I got clients, the marketing worked, holy crap. Now I got to do all this work and I'm stressed out, right? And this is where I say, skirt, okay, rewind, let's go higher, right? As you guys feel the pain, you want to go higher. So typically people ask me like, Krista, when should I hire? As soon as you start feeling pain, you're like, Krista, as soon as you start clamming up, as soon as you start to feel overwhelmed, as soon as work is not getting done, both your marketing and your clients' work, you want to hire, right? And we teach you how to strategically do this, where you can comfortably do this, where you're not paying more than what you actually need to pay. Yeah. All right, guys. So great session today. I'm super excited for you guys. Okay. So JD, we are doing a Cyber Monday special. So you get 50% off with the code Thanksgiving. 50% off with the code Thanksgiving. And Joseph, yes. So we use a lot of outsourcing to other countries. Yes, we do. Philippines, India, they're really smart people. And, you know, it's really affordable for both. It's really affordable for you, but the conversion for them is a lot, right? So you pay them even $8 an hour is like $80 an hour conversion for them. So they get paid well, and you really get to leverage labor that allows you to build and grow faster. And the program is a year long. The program is one whole year long of weekly coaching and of daily support. I didn't tell you guys this, but I have daily support like this on Zoom, where I see you, you see me, and you get to ask me any question every single day. We can hop on Zoom. You can say, hey, Krista, I got this tax client. Can you look at it? Hey, Krista, I got this bookkeeping client. Can you look at it? Hey, Krista, I need help with my marketing. Can you help me out? Right? This monthly, not monthly, this daily call, you can hop on and we can look at your stuff, figure out what's going on, give you some feedback, show you how to be better. Hey, Joy. So I actually sold my tax business. So Joy asked me, do I still have tax clients, or do you just teach marketing? So right now I just teach marketing. So I have my tax business since 2012. I have my own enroll agent firm, and I successfully sold my tax client base. I still had some tax clients though, right? So I still kept my grandmother, you know, my cousin, like people that weren't going to go to the person that bought my business. I still had those for 2 years after I sold my business. And as of last year, that's when I completely transitioned from tax preparation. So all of those clients now goes to one of my really good friends. She services those clients each and every day. So for tax software, Elizabeth, there's a few options, right? And I typically tell people to kind of demo some stuff, right? So let me just go back and share my screen, because you guys should know me by now. I'm like really visual. So there's a few options, right? So the very first one that I'm gonna just take you through my journey really quick. I used Crosslinks the first time, not the first time, but the Crosslinks was the software that I used for the majority of my tax career. It is pricey, and I don't really know. I haven't used them in a year or two, so I don't really know what all they have going on right now. And so we actually started based upon the recommendation of my clients and my program. They found a tax software called My Tax Prep Office. And this allows you to file online, right? Everything is on the cloud on My Tax Prep Office. And you can demo. So I would say demo Crosslinks, demo My Tax Prep Office, see what you like. If you do go to My Tax Prep Office, you can use a coupon code Krista and actually get like 25% off these prices. So they're super affordable. Like Crosslinks for this plan is like $1,500. Crosslinks for this plan is like $2,500. Crosslinks is a great software, right? It's just the price is not conducive for a lot of startups. And I don't know if they're on the cloud yet. Like I think you still have to download this software to your computer. Whereas my tax prep office is on the cloud. You can actually go to the website and then log into your portal, right? You can log in here and log into your My Tax Prep office portal. And that's why we recommend it, because we're going virtual, right? You want a software that's going to allow you to go and stay virtual. And they're constantly innovating and improving upon the software, because this is a newer software. Like Crosslinks has been around for 15 plus years, right? So they've already got their stuff down packed. My tax prep office is online and it's newer. They've probably been around for 3 to 4 years. So every year they're constantly improving upon the software. They're constantly making it better. And so you can't get in while it's really low, right? Get in while it's really low. And then if you use discount code Krista, CRYSTA, it's all caps, guys. Krista, you would get the 25% off. And then I've heard of like Drake. I have quite a few clients that like Drake. So let's go to Drake tax software. Drake is probably around the same as Crosslinks. They're like $1,200, $1,300. Look, they have their save. They said save $100. So you can try Drake out. The other one that I've heard great things about is TaxSlayer. And again, guys, I haven't used these tax softwares. The only ones that I've used is Crosslinks and My Tax Prep Office. I haven't used Drake and I haven't used TaxSlayer. I've tried Drake and I just didn't care for it. I have not tried TaxSlayer. So this is TaxSlayer, but they have a professional version. It looks like they're kind of like TurboTax. Let's type in TaxSlayer Professional to see what comes up. Here we go. Yeah, so I have not tried this, but what I can tell you guys is to demo, right? Go to all of these different softwares and demo them. They allow you to try out the software for free, so you can see if you like it or not. And because you definitely want to get a software that is easily to be navigated for you. Like what might be easy for me and what I might like might not be the same for you. So definitely keep that in mind and just take a half a day and demo some software and see what you like. And customer service is important, right? Yes. Elizabeth, did you put all caps, Krista? Let me know if you put all caps, Krista, if it works. That's good, Joy. What's a power couple gift? Oh, the link for my course, guys. Oh, it's saying sign into chat. I can't even type it in the chat. The link to my course. Honestly, if you go to my Instagram page, you can get it from my Instagram page because it won't let me type the link in the chat right now. But if you go to my Instagram bio, the link is there. Greg says, should you already have a business entity established before you file for your EFIN? You don't have to. You can actually file your EFIN in your personal name, but honestly, go ahead and get your business entity established today and go ahead and sign up for your EFIN just so you don't have to go back and change it. That would be like my best recommendation is just to go ahead and get your business entity established, go ahead and get your name incorporated, get your LLC established, get your EIN number, and then go ahead and sign into your eServices account and register for your EFIN. But the EFIN eServices, it does allow you an option to just use your name and your social security number. Like you can just say, I'm doing taxes in my name. That is an option. No, I don't think it's too late, Nia. It takes about 45 days. Yeah, you might be pushing it, right? So, but I would say it's better late than never, right? So just go ahead and get it out the way now. Get it done this week if you already haven't done so. Go ahead and get it done. Get it done today. Get it done tomorrow. and then send off all your stuff. And now all you have to do is wait for the IRS and just let them have their processing time to do it. They typically say it takes about 45 days. Joseph says, I tried my tax prep office, but there was some software glitches. Hopefully they upgraded the software now. Yeah, so, and that's what I mean. Like, you know, everybody has software glitches last year, honestly. Like I heard Drake's Witch Face was down. What was it called? Like their client, their online client portal was down for a few weeks during tax season. So everyone, even the big guys, they have glitches in their software. But you do need to give them time, right? Because it is software. They're going to constantly be improving upon it. I have talked to my tax prep office several times, and they want to be the best, right? They are constantly just making sure that their software is user friendly, making sure that they're updating it. So I would say that that's a really great aspect of them, is that they are constantly seeing how they can be better, how they can, you know, just give more information to the client. And I think that's all you can ask for right now. And just make sure that you are following the process, right? Because one of the things that I spoke to them about, some people were telling me that they were having glitching problems, and I spoke to them. I was like, "Hey, what's going on? Like, you know, like what's happening?" And they were saying sometimes if a user doesn't do a certain step, it won't let them go to the next spot or something like that. It was something with the user, right? The person that's actually doing the tax preparation needed to have done something. And that's typically where they said the majority of their errors come from, is the end user just isn't populating the correct one. But they're still looking at that. Like, how can we make this better? How can we explain things a lot better on the screen? So from their perspective, it wasn't the software glitching, it was the preparer might have been, or might have checked something wrong, was what they explained to me. But they were just saying that they're making it more robust to where everything, or every field that you could put information in, that they were going to explain and have more explanations and things like that. So I appreciated their effort. Isaiah says, I plan to niche down to real estate agents or interior designers. Should I be that specific? Oh yeah, for sure. That sounds great. Either or, real estate agents or interior designers. And yes, you do want to be that specific. Nia, I would say you definitely can partner with someone. If you don't get your EIFIN, you might be able to just partner with somebody. If you feel comfortable doing that, partnering with somebody that does have their EIFIN, I think would be a viable option. Hey JD, I for some reason it won't let me type in the chat because it's making me sign in, and so you can go to my Instagram page though if you want to check out the program. On my Instagram page, I have my Linktree account, and you can actually click on that to take you to the program, and the code to get the 50% off is Thanksgiving. And yes, Miriam, you can take that for the payment plan as well. You can take 50% off the payment plan as well. And hey, Ayo, the best sources for someone to learn how to do business taxes. So I would say start with the Internal Revenue Service. I think that would be a great way to start, right? Because honestly, you just want to understand what the tax law is. Okay, so for instance, if you want to learn more about SCorp, I would Google SCorp IRS, and then I would actually read the publication for S corporations, right? So I will look at the 1120S form, and then I will read the instructions. That's what you want to read, the instructions for form 1120S. So they haven't updated the 2020 instructions yet. You do want to pay attention to the year that you're reading them. So you want to find the 2020 instructions once those are updated. But honestly, I would go through and honestly read this. This is honestly the best course that you can actually go through, is actually read the instructions for this form. Because once you understand how to actually complete this form, now you can just go on your tax software and do it, right? So you just want to understand the S corporation law, right? The tax law around S corporations right here. So they have some related topics that you want to understand. They also have publication 542, which is corporations. So you want to understand the S corporation tax law and then the instructions for S corps. And then you actually want to look at an 1120S form, right? So we can go here and actually look to see, well, what does an 1120S form look like, right? And actually just type this on the screen, like, right, let's just create a mock company, right? So I got a Red Bull in front of me. So my mock company is going to be Red Bull Inc., right? I'm going to make up an address. And you just want to freestyle and actually just go through this form. Once you actually go through the real live form and actually see it, you're actually going to be able to understand it a lot better in your tax software too. Because once you actually go through this form, you're going to understand, like in your tax software, where those fields are going to be populated at, right? So once you go through the form and then you understand the instructions, honestly, that would be my best advice to learn how to do business tax returns. And then I would do the same thing for a partnership. And then I would do the same thing for a C Corp. That was a good question. Do you need a P10 to take classes? You only would need a P10 to take classes if you wanted to get credit for it. So if you are taking a course that is going to give you IRS continuing education credit for it, I would definitely have my P10 so you can make sure that you get that credit. Hey, Elizabeth. Yes. So I do offer my clients every single day to hop on a call with me to get help. So if you need help with the tax return, if you need help with a business client, let's just say you got your first S corporation return. Well, I can actually walk through with you and say, okay, hey, let's see where you're getting stuck at with this S corporation tax return, right? That's the beautiful part about my program is that we have daily support, daily office hours is what we're calling it. So it's great for newbies and people that need some hand holding. It's really great for that. Sophia says, hi, Krista. Once we have a niche, does that mean we don't do any other type of taxes? Oh, no. Hey, Sophia, no. Honestly, you're going to help everybody, right? And I tell this to my clients all the time. You are going to help any and everybody that comes your way, right? So just because you niche down to real estate agents does not mean, you know, if a chiropractor comes your way that you're not going to help that person. You're still going to help that chiropractor, right? Just because you're niche down doesn't mean you're not going to help like your friends, your family, your colleagues, your coworkers. You're going to help all those people too. So your niche is only, you know, required when we are doing our marketing. We just have to make sure we have a very specific industry that we're going after. Yep. Hey, Ayo, yes, you definitely can call the IRS for sure. You can call the IRS practitioner priority line and they will help you with your client's taxes. You might be holding a while because if it's tax season, you're probably going to be on the line for a little bit. So you just want to keep that in mind. Honestly, Joseph, I just use Upwork. I use Upwork to outsource. Yeah. Yes, if you want credit, Ty, then yes, you would need your P10. If you want credit, even for some of our classes, you would need your P10 so they can submit that to you or submit it to the IRS that you've taken these courses that were about tax law specific. Yep. Yes, a long time you would be waiting. Yes. All right, guys. Great conversation today. You know, I'm happy that you guys got a lot of value from this. If you have any questions outside of this, go ahead to Instagram and slide in my DM, or you can email me hello@kristatayas.com. I'll send out the PowerPoint presentation today's presentation if you want that. So you can either, like I said, DM me on IG or send me an email, or my online business manager, Rachel, she'll get that out to you guys.